You also came to the Conan in Berlin show.
Yes.
Which we've both said is one of our favorites.
Yes.
I mean, so hilarious.
And this segment you're in is just one of the
where you guys learned the Schuhplattler dance.
Yeah.
And then danced alongside these two brothers, these German brothers.
And their dad.
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It was, I mean, Conan had started doing the international remotes, and it kind of just, well, I mean, we talked about this a little bit in the one that I listened to last night, the first one, where you were very complimentary about my ability to sort of create my own little corner and be sort of off on my own little island, because I was on the top floor in a corner office, and you know, kind of, I did, you know, and I also too, over the years, like I used to like to say, like, the last production meeting I had been to was in 1993. You know, because there'd be a production meeting every morning,
the first and last,
where you know, everyone would talk about what the bits were going to be, and you know, you'd clear it with props. And even if I'd written a bit, I always felt like, well,
those meetings were
I'm gonna find out anyway. You know, I don't need to get there and be. And I was there. I was usually there. I just wouldn't go into. And also, I loathe meetings. I just hate them. So I didn't, you know, I wouldn't go to meetings. I wasn't on like the main big email chain. I had Galit, my assistant, kind of.
Oh, you got to filter?
Yeah, she filtered what emails I would need. So I was out of the loop myself, but like when
I didn't know that was an option.
You could, well, no, you couldn't, because you were running things.
It was crazy.
I always like to say I was the head of my own one-man department.
And even then sometimes you're like, nope, sorry.
Sorry,
it's above my pay
boss
grade.
says I can't.
Andy's not available.
But like when they started, the first one was Cuba, and it kind of happened, and I was actually supposed to do. We were going to shoot a remote of me being the Grand Marshal of a Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah,
but it so happened that the Conan thing got booked, and he was going to Cuba like 5 days after I would have been in New Orleans, so it was just a man-woman power thing.
Oh, that the crew was.
Yeah, the crew would. They were going to say, you know, it was too soon before Cuba to do my thing, and for the writers that would need to go and edit. So I still went, and I just
still got to be Grand Marshal.
Yeah,
better.
I got to eat weed brownies during the whole thing, and not have to worry about
that
making.
Would have been a great remote, though.
I rode in like a little homemade kind of like rickshaw bike thing, and that some guy behind me, and he had a big coffee can full of weed brownies that he was just eating constantly.
What?
As he's like pushing, you know, riding a bike, my big ass around New Orleans. But I got to go down there and just have fun. I didn't have to worry about making TV. And then the Cuba thing happened, and then I remember one time in the monologue meeting going like, well, is it going to be like 2 acts, or are we going to do it as different acts throughout the week? And everyone was like, no, it's its own special. It's its own hour-long special. And I was like, oh. And then, you know, as they started to stack up, I started to feel a little left out. You know, I started to feel a little bit like, you know, like, well, I'd like to go on a trip to a different country.
Right.
So when the Germany thing came around, I mean, and you know, and he took people that it made sense. Like to take Stephen Yun to Korea.
Persona to Armenia.
Yeah, it makes sense to like me to Korea, you know, like I like kimchi, you know. So it made sense to take me to Germany just because of my last name and whatever, you know. And but it was so much fun in a way because I mean, you guys know better than I do. Those are very kind of seat of the pants.
Yeah.
And I got to fly first class on Lufthansa. Oh.
So nice.
Oh my God, so nice.
The Germans really have figured out.
Like the seat,
air
like
travel.
The chair was just. It was like if what like a BMW
chair.
was a Rolls Royce or something, and just like German flight attendants that I feel like I may be transposing this to something else, but I feel like they were wearing gloves. Like,
yes, they were.
Yeah. No, because I know in Alitalia, when you fly Alitalia, as you board, they're all wearing these like fantastically these like
dress gloves?
beautiful brown leather gloves that fit perfectly.
Right.
And I want to say that the German flight attendants had that, but I don't think they did.
That sounds right.
But it was just like, would you like some champagne? And I'm, kind of agnostic about champagne, but sure. And then it's like, holy shit, that's the best champagne I've ever had in my life.
Right. Movies are better on airplanes.
Yeah.
Champagne.
And then we stayed in a beautiful old hotel that had bullet holes in it from World War II because it had been a bank or something, and partisans had holed up in it or something, and
people wanted their money out.
And my whole experience of that trip was me, having dinner with you guys, and then, well, what's tomorrow like? Well, we're going out to shoot some stuff in the morning. We'll be back around 1. Okay, so I got.
So your call time is.
I got from 2, when I wake up until 1 to go wander, and I just.
What'd you do?
Bought a lot of stuff. I remember you bought. Christmas gifts.
I bought some artwork and stuff like old. Old prints and stuff.
Right.
But if I had it to do over again, I would have done, because I kind of just decided I'm just gonna, because the hotel was in a nice area. I'm just going to go that way, like I'm going to
wander around.
just wander and not really. And then as I would go, I'd kind of read up on things, like what I was seeing. But it was about like 3 or 4 days of that. And then I, like one day I think like I just wasn't used at all.
Right.
And then it would be, we'll need you at 1. And then emailing, and I'd get an email or a text. We're not coming back till 3.
Yeah.
All right, so we push it till 3, and then it's like probably 5.
Yeah.
And so I just kept having more and more time to just hang out in Berlin. And I had never been to Germany, so it was really it was really fun.
Have you been back, or was that your one time?
No.
Yeah.
I would like to go sometime.
Yeah.
But then that bit with the brothers was. It was pretty funny, and it's one
of my favorites.
And again, the thing that I will take away from that was because the brothers there's all kinds of acrobatic shit that they do, like holding each other upside down. And I tried to do that with Conan,
right?
While he supposed to be slapping my butt,
right?
And
upside down,
he was missing my butt and slapping the backs of my legs so hard that, like, when I got back to the hotel, there were just like Conan handprints, stinging red handprints,
was like smacking the hell out of
and I was like going, and I think I even said to him like.
Less realistic.
If you want to do that again, please hit my butt this time.
Because the butt has the nice padding.
And he also was not holding back.
No.
He was wailing on me, as I'm holding him upside down.
Yeah,
I could have dropped him on his head, and he still...
I remember that was one take. You were just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll hold
we
him
got
upside down once.
Yeah.
And then we ended the thing in this crazy, and this was, again, like, just seemed like so Berlin-y to me, a nightclub that was in an old building.
Right.
There was like 8 walk-up stories, and there were different. Some people lived on some floors, and then other floors were production
studios. You expected to see people like maybe doing heroin in the hot stairwell.
And it was like a movie from the 60s.
Yeah, and then there was like, like one floor is just a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, and then the next floor down, you're like, people live here. We can't just go in there. And
then a giant courtyard with like 300 people.
Yeah. And then I was only used in that a couple of times. It was like me and, Conan was supposed to be DJing.
Right.
And it's like me and Flula were together.
Right, Flula
looking, disproving. Right. And then so it was like 6 hours of just kind of hanging around in this crazy, weird nightclub and getting to wander a little bit. And then I left, and then I heard like that after a certain point, the entire place becomes like a free-form sex club, and that a few of our crew members were,
I definitely left before that.
Yeah, I left before that. Some people were letting their hair down, I think. I don't know exactly.
Which hair?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I was well and
Betty Bye. Yeah.
Winking, blinking, and nod land.